Welcome to Exposed Urban TV. This is episode 4, and I'm here with Emily O'Brien.
Hi.
We're going to be talking about some wine events, different ways we discover wines, experience wines, and how they get into our homes as a result of that. So, hello, Emily.
Hello.
It's great to have you on.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah. We were interested. We were talking a lot about the different wine events that you've been to over the last year. It seems like this area is exploding with all sorts of wine experience-oriented events in Boston and in various places around the North Shore.
Absolutely.
I was wondering if you could talk about some of the things you've been to and how they were and
Sure.
what we should be looking out for and going to ourselves.
Sure. So one of the most recent events that I went to was actually a combination of, wine and social media. So here we are, and this is sort of, a venue for social media. And there's a lot of combining of social media and wine right now. And how do we take people from just sort of, being on behind their computers to actually being in a physical space and being together and sharing some of the things the knowledge that they share, about wine online. So a few weeks ago, I went to an event that was sponsored by Red, White, Boston, and that is a sort of website / they do some publications on, wines that they would recommend. They organize tastings. They actually organize events at other venues like liquor stores or wine shops, and they actually went on a they tailed on an event that was going on called the Social Media Tweet Up, which that is really people getting together to talk about social media, to trend the topic that they're usually trending, like a specific subject matter, and everyone is linking to that as they're doing their tweets, so people can see the conversation.
So the event was about the social media aspect, and the wine was just there.
Exactly. So Red, White, and Boston was invited to be a part of the social media tweet up. So beforehand, they actually had an event where we went to the Innovation Center, actually called the Venture Cafe in Cambridge, and it's sort of a space for innovators to get together and to share information and to, again, come together in a physical space. So they were pouring wines there. People were, everyone, it's funny, people get together, but they're on their phones the whole entire time, because they're doing, tweeting at the same time. So I don't know how much they're actually, talking to people, but you could check in, and your check-in went sort live there, and it was a good way for people to connect. So that was a lot of fun. We tried a lot of different wines. They had beers on tap too. There were people from MIT there. All of the other places, I thought how cool to work at these places, that they're actually having their staff come here afterwards. So it was a really fun event.
That's cool.
I enjoyed that. And
but it is interesting how you bring the social media world and the wine world together so easily. It's like Mark and I were talking on episode 1 about Zuckerberg, person of the year in Time magazine.
Oh, yeah.
And just how innate in our DNA that sort of social contact is, and how that's why it's taking off so much. And it's very similar to how we experience wine together and around a table, or go to a restaurant and buy a bottle of wine. So social media and wine just go together naturally.
Absolutely.
In some way.
And it's really easy to connect to people too, I think, because it's a fairly inexpensive way for people to gather. So it's not necessarily like, going out to dinners and being a part of a meetup group that dines places. To just meet and have a couple of glasses of wine is a really sort of equalizing way for people to get together, and it can really connect people of all different ages and races, and I think interest areas too, because a lot of people have stories behind the wines that they like, or the reasons that they like the wine, which is why it's nice to take it from this sort of technological world actually to people coming together and enjoying wine, because I really think it's more about sharing things together and coming together, and wine is really something that can join people.
And just the power of bringing those types of people in. Like you said, everybody was on their phones. I mean, the marketing aspect of that
it was amazing.
Phenomenal.
Because people would say, I'm drinking this. This is excellent. And the same group, Red, White, Boston, actually had an event about a week ago, and they did a tasting room, and it was also people were tweeting, and they were actually tweeting, this wine goes great with these snacks that they had, like, oh, this is great with the black olives or something. I noticed that. And it was actually an opportunity for people that were there drinking wine to talk to some other people that are key players in the wine and social media environment. So they were learning something, they were trying new things, they were meeting each other. So I think it was just a great opportunity for people, to connect and things that they have in common and hobbies too.
Yeah. It seems like wine is becoming much more accessible to everyone, and events like this, it's very it's not like that pretentious air of a wine drinker.
And I think that that's something that that I personally have noticed changing maybe over the past few years. Not that I've been attending, wine events for many, many years. I wasn't 21 too long. Well, 5 years ago.
We got our age.
Yeah. So I've noticed that there have been more events that are the price point is a lot easier for people to attend the event. So, for example, there's an event coming up, the Boston Wine Expo, that's January 22nd and 23rd, and that's at the Seaport World Trade Center. And I've heard about that for a couple of years, and I'm sure it's an absolutely fabulous event. They have, these phenomenal chefs there and wine experts, and they have a grand tasting and a grand cru tasting, and, all of these excellent features, very fine. But the tickets are
expensive.
They're expensive, for one day. I think for Sunday it's $85, for Saturday it's $95, and then if you're doing a grand tasting, it's this. You could stay. It's definitely a level of people that have to be older too. You have to be able to be generating enough income to go to those sort of events.
Yeah.
And it just feels like something that may be a little bit stuffy. I'm sure that you maximize the amount that you spend, and you're able to drink plenty of wine and eat plenty of food. But that seemed to be what the typical event was like. And now there are a lot more events that are a lot more affordable. Some of the restaurant weeks that have been held in Boston, and Salem has their restaurant week where you can do a wine pairing and do a wine flight. So that exposes you to actually, how to pair wines with specific courses. I remember I never knew how to pair wine with dessert or something, or, how you transition through something that's light to a little bit heavier. And those can be $15 to do a flight. And you just take a sip, but you get to know what you like and what pairs well. So things like wine, restaurant week dinners, wine dinners are really great opportunities. I also think that some of the other events that I have heard a little bit about, and I'm sure that you've heard about some of these events, are like, there's this event called the Wine Riot that is in Boston, and they've been having, it's organized by a company called Second Glass. And Second Glass is a company that really is focusing on connecting wine and social media and how to educate people about wine in a way so they can enjoy it that's very easy, very accessible, very affordable, and fun. I think their motto is drink more wine. It doesn't really get a lot simpler. It doesn't get a lot simpler than that. And one of their signature events which was probably the first event that I ever attended, where I went to an expo style wine tasting, and that was held in the South End. Yeah. They started a couple of years ago at a location called the Cyclorama.
It's a gorgeous facility. Actually, Mark and I went and took a look at it when it was empty, and it was beautiful.
Just that exposed, it has that very urban feel to it, and it's right in the South End. Just a beautiful, beautiful space. Unfortunately, they're moving it this year to the Park Plaza.
Oh, really?
But I just realized that when I looked up the information, because they have their event coming up is in April.
That's interesting, because you're right. Like, the whole idea of naming it the Wine Riot and it being, $35 maybe?
I think it's about $45.
But still affordable. It was to be sort of that level. Cyclorama says that to me. Park Plaza, maybe not so much.
Exactly, but I think
sure it'll be wonderful.
Yeah, no, it will be excellent. I think it just shows how they're growing too. The Wine Riot, which originally started in Boston, and Second Glass is a company that started in Boston, and their two principals, or their two owners, actually are in their 20s. They've both been named in some way or another as some of the greatest young entrepreneurs under 40, and I've heard them talk about, you know, how they started the company, the hiccups along the way, what their goals were, and it really was bringing, you know, I think wine to their friends and saying, like, we like to do this, and how can we make it easier for everyone to do it? And that's definitely the feel of that event.
And that they're going nationwide this year, right?
They are. So they are growing. They started in Boston, and now they're going to have a wine riot in LA, in Chicago, DC, and New York.
Wow.
Over this year.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
So Red, White, Boston, Second Glass, any others out there that are doing this type of stuff? You said you go to a lot of wine tastings at various liquor stores. Those are organized by Red, White, Boston, or just by the liquor stores themselves?
In terms of the North Shore, I think there's definitely a space for organization for events like this. Most of Second Glass and Red, White, Boston typically hold things in Boston or the surrounding communities like Somerville, like Brookline, like Waltham. So I think that as the North Shore sort of grows, and you know, they know that we're up here and we, you know, love to do those things,
right,
there'll be a little bit of an expansion. However, there are some excellent places that you can go to try some of these wines. You know, some of the trends I think for 2011 that we're seeing, and we've probably seen for 2010, is the wines from Latin America and Spain.
Urbano wines, I like to call them. So, if you don't know what Urbano is, check out exposedurban.com and read up, because it's what we are. We're here.
I just learned about what Urbano was.
Spanish is the new cool. That's a quote that I have on from a reader and a listener.
It is the new cool, and it's the new affordable too. So that's a Malbec. This is a Tempranillo. Tempranillo is very easy drinking wine.
It's a very good wine.
And it's really good if you think about Spain, tapas, you know, roasted vegetables and meats. Malbec is super popular. That's from Argentina, and it's thought that it's so popular because it's really similar to California wine, so it's familiar for an American palate.
Yeah.
And then that's a Pinot Gris, and that's Pinot Gris and Pinot Noir, just sort of close to my heart because I've been to Oregon and been to wine country out there, and the Pinot grapes are absolutely fabulous. And I have to say I'm not a big white wine drinker. No offense to all the white wine drinkers out there, because white wine is supposed to actually expand this year too, because Riesling is becoming hugely popular, and then some of the other alternatives like a Torrontés or a Verdelo. So you're getting away from just the Chardonnay and just sort of you know, the white Zinfandel. I do have to say, I do have snobbery towards white Zinfandel.
I don't drink that.
That's the only one that is not acceptable because it's pink. So, you know, I do like rosé though, so I can't say I don't like pink wines. But some of the places that I go to actually buy my wine is Pamplemousse in Salem is a great place. It's a really sort of a boutique kind of shop, and they do a lot of wine pairings, and they'll do beer pairings too. They have some great little, you know, sort of culinary treats too. And also Shuby's in Marblehead is another place that has a pretty good selection of wines. And also the other one, I'm totally blanking on the other one that I went to that I told you that I got the other one.
Yeah, I forget. That's okay.
Yeah, you know, whatever.
There are wine stores everywhere. But yeah, definitely check out some of these wines if you'd like.
Market Wine and Spirits up in Salem.
There you go.
That was the other one.
That's right.
And actually yesterday I went there and they do a tasting from 2 to 5 p.m. It was packed. It was like a club in there. And they said when their holidays, they have like turkey. They bring out, and people come every week. They have their wine glasses. They have food out. You know,
so there you go. Next Thanksgiving, vacation in Salem.
Exactly.
You get your turkey dinner and you get a nice wine tasting. So it's all set. Well, thank you so much for being here. This has been fantastic. Let us know the wines you're drinking, the events you're going to. We're interested in learning about what's happening all across the country, especially for us here in Boston and the North Shore. We're really excited about what we're seeing here. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to go to exposedurban.com, sign up for that email list. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Bye.